Good morning. Happy Easter. Hope you're enjoying your holiday weekend. Hearts fans probably have been, because they've had a sensational campaign. They can come to Ibrox and play with a degree of freedom. Different story for Rangers though. They're still in a battle for second place, albeit they could be in the driving seat in that race because Hibs slipped up yesterday. To win here though, they're going to need a really big performance. Hearts are champions for a reason. They've had an outstanding campaign.
Away up in Gorgie at Tynecastle Park, there's a wee Fitbit team that will aye make its mark. They've won all the honours in footballing arts, and there's no other team to compare with the Hearts. We've won the league flag and we've won the league cup. Though we sometimes go down, we can aye go back up. Our forwards can score, and it's no idle talk. Our defence is as strong as the old Castle Rock.
The champions are in Glasgow today for officially their third meeting with Rangers this season. Their last visit here was abandoned after heavy snow, and this is the rearranged matchup. It's the RangervHearts live on BT Sport. Another part of our big Easter weekender lineup in kick-off is 12:15. Lots to come in the build-up, all bases covered. Joining us, Gary Locke, the former Hearts manager, now permanent Killie manager. Congratulations to you. Michael Stewart's here as well, former Hearts captain. We'll start with the champions then, because they've had a great season. And you have to say, we just saw the pictures. It's been a wonderful campaign for a number of reasons.
Yeah, they've had a fantastic campaign, you know, and they blew everyone away with their pace and their energy. And, you know, it's credit to everyone at Hearts for the job they've all done. They've
been relentless, haven't they?
Yeah, I think that everybody realises that the job that's been done is a huge credit to, as Gary says, everybody that's been at the club. And you're right, they've been relentless. There's been a lot of times in the season where the performances have dipped, but they've still picked up those points. You know, in big games, the performance hasn't been great, but as goals have been scored, they've not conceded, and they keep picking up those points.
Word is they want to keep on going, to keep on putting the points on the board. And is there something in that as well? Because I even remember last season, I know you were relegated, you had the points deduction to fight, but you went down with such momentum that they did seem to carry on, that they would want to create that again now, won't they, going up to the Premiership again?
Yeah, I think they will. I think that was one of the biggest things last year. Towards the end of the season, a lot of the young lads that were in the squad were then ready to be first-team players. And, you know, I said it when I was there, you know, I felt all that was lacking was a few experienced players on the pitch to help these young lads. They've added really good experienced players last summer, and, you know, that's come to fruition this year. They've played really well, they've played with a real high tempo, and, you know, they've won games, which breeds confidence, and you can see that they're all trying things when they get the ball, and, you know, they fully deserve to have won the league.
Okay, let's get all the team news now. Gary McAllister is alongside Derek Ray, who has all the info as normal. Derek.
Yes, good morning, Darryl. A few short weeks ago, it was a matter of cobbling together a Rangers team. Now imbued with a spirit of improvement under Stuart McCall, suffice it to say, it's a case of who to leave out. Hearts just keep motoring, and they can change the gear at will according to the road conditions on any particular day. 2 changes for Rangers, 2 for Hearts as well. Mariusz Jalukas, the ex-Hearts captain, is in for Bilal Mosny. As far as Rangers are concerned, Haris Vučkić gets the nod over David Templeton, another Hearts old boy. For the visitors, Kevin McCarthy, as expected, in for Adam Eckersley, who was told this week he won't be offered a new deal. It's Sam Nicholson in the lineup and not Billy King. Gary, let's talk about Vučkić first of all. Rangers fancy having him on board permanently?
Absolutely, and I agree with Stuart McCall's comments. I think he's a player who's very easy on the eye, beautiful left foot, and I think he can excite the fans. He's very talented, he's got an eye for a pass.
Hearts, 2 up front.
Yes.
No great surprise, is it?
No, the champions come here, boy, with great confidence, and I think it's just a show of intent. They come here for all the 3 points. They come here to win.
To what extent do tactics play a part, or is it all about the individual battles? Is it more about the shape?
No, the tactical things are very, very important, and I'm sure that both managers will be looking at the key players who they want to stop, but it's also about releasing players and freeing them up to go and express themselves.
All right, we'll look forward to talking to you during the game. We should tell you, by the way, Darryl, that there will be a guard of honour for Hearts at the insistence of the Rangers manager, Stuart McCall.
Another classy move from Stuart McCall, as you'd expect. Let's focus on the Hearts lineup then. I said right at the beginning of the programme, maybe they would come and play with a degree of freedom. It looks like it, doesn't it? Zay Fouk, so up top. That's not something they've done against Rangers so far this season, having two strikers.
No, it's not. But even you talk about playing with an element of freedom. There's always going to be a plan and a structure in place so that when they're not in control of the ball, they're going to be difficult to beat. But as the guys were saying there, it does show a real intent that they come to Ibrox and they're not going to fear it. They're coming with a purpose to go and get 3 points, and they've done that a lot this season. Even though they'll maybe set up differently, they're always trying to get the 3 points.
Is that the kind of lineup you expected them to play today?
Yeah, without doubt. I mean, the league's won, the job's done, so they can come to Ibrox now and play with a freedom. You look at the lineup. Jamie Walker and Sam Nicholson, two players that will go and have a go at people. They're going with the two strikers. So I fully expect Hearts to have a right go today. And you looking at them on paper, you'd fancy them to win.
Gary made a great point earlier. I mean, he's talking about the atmosphere around the place and the guys trying things out and things coming off. That makes a huge difference to places when there's a good atmosphere somewhere. It means that the confidence is high. It means that they get the freedom to go and do what they want to do. And when it's the opposite of that, we've seen it at Rangers, it's very difficult to get yourself out of that.
And that is an atmosphere, of course, that you helped build last season. No doubt Hibs fans might be watching on today and looking for Hearts to do them some favours. Hearts still play Rangers twice, but Hibs are stumbling right now, aren't they, Gary? Yesterday, this is home against Queen of the South, and they lost 1-0. Mark Durnan with the goal, and all of a sudden you're starting to wonder, in the race for the playoffs, it's changing.
Yeah, well, you see a lot, this time of the year. It's the business end of the table. All the games are very meaningful. And, Hibs are a big club, high expectations. James Fowler's done a guy I know well, done a great job at Queen of the South, and that's a fantastic result for them.
Queen of the South are fighting as well, of course. They're trying to get that last playoff place. Falkirk in the battle. Queen of the South Rangers on Thursday. We've got that game live, but so many teams still in it.
Well, that's what makes the playoffs so exciting, that there's all these stories to talk about. Queen of the South, Falkirk, Hibs, if they're not careful, or it's always bubbling under the surface with Hibs, that sort of nervousness, and we see the reverse now. There is a bit of confidence in the Rangers team, and they're looking forward. So it makes it a really exciting end to the season to see who's going to get into those playoffs.
Right, we've got people all over the ground today. Stephen Craigan is with them. Peter Lovenkrands, the former Rangers man, is there as well. So interesting to know, guys, first of all, what you make of that Rangers team selection today, and also the game at Easter Road. What a boost for Rangers that will be today.
Well, it certainly will be, Darryl. I think that defeat for Hibs at Easter Road yesterday puts Rangers back in the driving seat, for that coveted second spot, Peter. And I think, the Rangers players will be buoyed with that result yesterday, won't they?
Oh, definitely. If it doesn't give them a boost, there's something wrong. With Hibs losing that game, gives them this momentum, hopefully, to kick on and get that last spot for the playoff, to get back up. So this should kick them on, yeah.
And Rangers have 2 games in hand, so it just shows you how important today's game is for Rangers.
Oh, it's a massive game. It's a huge game. Getting this game, also a little bit of confidence as well. If they can go and beat Hearts, who's been dominant this season, now you have to be honest, they've been fantastic. But if they go and beat them, it gives them that confidence to push on and hopefully get the results they need for the last bit of the season.
And I think there's been much debate this week of whether Stuart McCall would go with a back 3. As he did 2 weeks ago against Hibs at Easter Road, and they won by 2-0, or would he stick to his back 4 that he had last week against Cowdenbeath and he scored 4 goals? He seems to be sticking with the back 4, so I think that's a positive note as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a positive note. Of course, you have to go out and you have to score goals against Hearts as well. It's a big game and they have to go and kind of push for it and trying to get the result that they need. And I understand why he went to the back 4 like that, because it worked well for him before it.
Now, Rangers have dropped 17 points at home. Here at Ibrox, have drawn against Livingston, they've drawn against Alloa. That will have to improve as well, Peter, won't it? Ahead of the next games, possibly the playoffs as well. They have to make sure they can't drop any more points here.
Yes, it's dead unusual for Rangers. It's a Rangers team to lose that many points, especially at home. That's not normal for this club, so they have to kind of get that right. And with the short games coming in, this is a big game for it to start that momentum, go and get the points that they need and not lose any more points in the run-in.
So with 7 games to go, Rangers have to keep that momentum up. Can they keep up their recent good form and claim back their top flight status?
Soon find out. Gentlemen, thank you very much. We'll see you up here again soon. Time to pay a bit of a tribute to Hearts now in the season that they've had. They've had to rebuild from the very foundations, and Budge has been a model owner. Brick by brick, they've laid out a pathway to a better future.
It was a great day for everyone. It's been a long season. The fans have backed us to be able to come to Tynecastle and get a full house, and they enjoyed the day. The good thing for me was seeing the players out there.
It was amazing to come out of the tunnel and hear the noise, just something I would never have expected to have been part of.
we've won the championship now, and that was the aim at the start of the season. But now we look to push on and set our own targets, set our own goals, and try and reach that 100 goal mark and carry on the unbeaten run towards the end of the season.
It's been great the way it's been set up. You know, it takes a lot of the time constraints out of me as well. You know, the issues of having to go to board meetings and you deal with things that take the focus away from the actual first team in the game on the Saturdays. You know, as a head coach, my role is to look after the first team. You know, predominantly. You know, make sure they're ready for a game on a Saturday, and then have an influence in the 20s and the academy as well, which I enjoy doing.
What Robbie, Stevie and myself have done is we've learned from each other, we've taken bits and pieces of each other, we steal each other's sessions on a regular basis and adapt them, and it's terrific. You know, it's worked really, really well. I think the dynamics between the three of us are excellent.
My worry at the start of the season was going to be the consistency. You know, going to Alloa, going to Dumbarton, going to Wraith Rovers, going to Falkirk and picking up results. And predominantly over the years, we could raise ourselves for the big games, the derbies or old firm games, but it was the other games that was difficult, and this season we proved that we can do that, and our job now is to try and carry that into next season.
We went on quite a lengthy unbeaten run, and it came to an end, but now we're back on that run, and hopefully we can carry that on for the rest of the season. It was a great journey. I mean, winning every week was great for the players, great for confidence, and we always knew that it would come to an end. We didn't expect it to come as abruptly as it did, but it did, and if anything, it's helped us to push on and get more games under the belt.
The difficult part next season will be when we do lose a couple of games, whether it be on the bounce or within a short period. It's about how we respond to that. This season's been fantastic in that we lose one game and we go on to win the next 9. But next season, if we lose one and lose the following week, then we must make sure we stay strong, positive and continue in the track that we're going down.
When you do well on the pitch, the supporters are amazing. I expect to have a slightly tougher time next year from that perspective. In terms of the business challenges, we need to continue to grow. We've had a good year, but when you sell out all your hospitality, all your tickets, all your shirts, how do you keep it going? So that's our big challenge for next year.
The test for me is obviously to keep producing players that will be able to step into Robbie's first team and to work with him and Stevie. I think that there's a challenge because there'll maybe less uncertainty around what we do now as a team, because I think we've had a lot of plaudits this season. I don't think we'll be as promoted as a team that people aren't expecting to do well. Certainly everybody's now commenting about how well they believe we'll do. We have to meet those expectations.
It's a huge step, not just for the club but for the players and the staff as well. You're going to the top league and be competing against better players and better teams.
One of the things I'm fairly certain about is there's not really one model that fits all football clubs. There are too many differences between each of the individual clubs, both in terms of size, level of support, etc., which make huge differences. So our model at the moment is working well for us. And I think it's good to build from that, but I'm not saying necessarily it's going to be right for everyone.
Well, Anne Budge did have to make some really big calls, as you very much know, don't you? But when you now look back, do you respect the decision she's made, and certainly the decision she's made this season as well?
No.
I wondered if you might take me down that line.
She had big decisions to make, and I was there when it was really difficult, it was very difficult to hear that the club could have went under, but credit to the supporters. I think they're the ones that saved the club. They were the ones that raised all the money. They're very, very fortunate, obviously, that Anne came in as well. She's a wealthy woman, and she's run the club very, very well since she's taken over. And it's great to see them getting back on their feet. They're a huge club, and Scottish football can't do without Hearts. So, I'm delighted to see them doing so well, and it's great for Scottish football as well that we've got such a big club back in the top flight.
She's already setting targets for next season as well. She'd like the top 6, she says, and also, stating the fact that they're in a good position. Danny Wilson's been linked with Celtic and said that there's no need to sell at the moment. They're in a much better place.
Well, you heard her there talking about how do you progress the club forward when you've sold out the shirts, you've sold out the hospitality, you sell all the tickets, and you do that by making sure you keep a hold of your players as well. there's, Hearts are always going to, the clubs in Scotland are always going to have a price on their players' heads, but when you're not in the position where you have to sell, that's a good position to be in. And I think that there needs to be the balance between obviously getting the business right off the pitch, but you heard her there saying as well, the fans want things to be good on the pitch. And they've had a fair amount of that this season, a lot of good performances and results.
And I've heard some of the Rangers fans saying this week as well, perhaps their new board could learn a bit from Anne Budge and Hearts. OK, next up we'll hear from the new Rangers manager, Stuart McCall, who met his old captain at Motherwell this week, Stephen Craigan, and told him when he was offered the job at Ibrox, it was just too good to turn down.
No, I'm never going to get another opportunity. I wouldn't get another opportunity to come and manage such an outstanding club, so it was a little bit of a gamble, but it was something I just wanted to do.
Now, time to hear from the new Rangers manager, Stuart McCall. Not many people know him better than his old captain at Motherwell, Stephen Craigan. So we sent Stephen along this week to meet Stuart and to find out how he's getting on.
I was enjoying time out, but I felt as though I wanted to get back on the training ground. And as I say, the Rangers thing came right out of the blue, and delighted that it did. I'm never going to get another opportunity. I wouldn't get another opportunity to come and manage such an outstanding club. So it was something I just wanted to do.
Yeah, good, thanks.
Stuart, what's the last 3 weeks been like since taking over?
Eventful, hectic, but obviously really enjoyable, I've got to say. Didn't have to get off to the best of starts with 2 home games, which we were hoping to take maximum points. Managed 2 draws, but I think the thing is we've been improving with each game, which has been important. Obviously psychologically, the victory at Easter Road was key for the players, the belief, for the supporters. And then to follow it up with a good victory against Cowdenbeath, first home one in a wee while, was crucial as well.
It was something we'd kind of spoke about previously, that you may have turned down opportunities or even approaches in the hope of one day getting this place. So has it disappointed?
No, not at all. No, of course not. But I had 4 or 5 opportunities to go back into the game. But for me to give up Scotland, it had to be something I really felt was right. And the opportunities I had didn't really excite me. It's not disappointed, of course, and you only have to walk into this place. And all the training facilities and everything they've got is top draw.
So you get the job, and the first thing you do is bring the players in on their day off?
Yeah, that wasn't a big statement. It was just the fact that when I got offered the job on the sort of the Wednesday evening, so I just wanted to have a chance to work with the players on the Thursday, get to know them, get to meet them, try to get a few points over before Saturday's game, and try to make a quick impression.
Do you think working on BT Sport, and seeing Rangers so often, do you think that could be a little edge ahead of some other people?
As much as you're there and you're watching it, I still didn't think for 1 second, I wasn't touting myself for the job or thinking it would become on offer. As I say, a lot of people says, do you really know what you're getting in for? It was going to be a big job to sort of get a bit of spirit back in the club. Whether I'm here for another 2 months, 2 years, whatever it may be, between now and the end of the season, I'll just relish every minute of it.
I think momentum is a big word that's used in football.
Yeah.
And it just seems to be gathering at the right time of the season for you.
Yeah, as I said to the players, win, lose or draw on Sunday or even the week after, it's all about what's going to happen in them playoffs. I want to have a headache of leaving out players, not struggling to pick 11 that we can play. There's competition now, there's eagerness on the training ground, and the fighting to be involved in what could still be a successful season. And that's all we said to the lads. Regardless of what's gone on in the past, this can still be a good season, and it's down to you. The lads who are out of contract, 12 of them, at this moment in time, they wouldn't be getting a contract, but they've still got 2 months to prove it. And a lot of them have been doing a lot better.
Now, I know your appointment is only until the end of the season. It must have whetted your appetite for a little bit more.
Yeah, it's funny, I was marking the cones out there today, and the rain was lashing down, and I was thinking what I would normally been doing, mucking out the stables and, not doing a lot, but, the brain's now in gear. You're looking ahead to games, you're looking ahead to training, you're organising, and just doing what I've loved to do all my life, really, being involved in football. So, I'm going to do everything to enjoy it, relish it, do my utmost best to make sure we're prepared in the right way and give us the best possible chance we can to get out of the league. If that happens, then great. If it doesn't, then it won't be through lack of effort.
Old habits, eh? Still calling him Gaffer. Yeah. How did you find him? Is he the same man that you remember at Motherwell? Has the mindset changed at all?
Well, he was beaming first and foremost. I think he's very appreciative of the job that he has here at Rangers, Darryl. Don't take all the kind of niceties, but you know, he's got a steely determination to make this thing work. He wants to get Rangers back to the top flight. He wants to do it this season, and I now firmly believe in him.
He's also not protecting the current players. You heard what he said there, 12 players out of contract. At the moment, they're heading for the exit door.
Yeah, but you have to do that though, and that's our job as a bigger club as Rangers is. You have to make those type of decisions, and if he feels that's the way it is, then you kind of have to respect that and then see he must know what he's doing.
He also has said in the press that he'd be interested in signing Haris Vucic if McCall, first of all, still here next season, if Vucic would like to come as well. But so many questions need to be asked, because you look at this week, delisting, of course, there's, you know, Stuart McCall's probably finding out he needs to be a financial expert to be in the job. He still needs to work out the budgets for next season if he's here. There's no clarity still from this board, is there?
I think, you know, the big thing from Stuart is Stuart hasn't been through it all. You know, he's kind of new to it. He's trying to focus on the football side of things. All the past and the history is probably away from him. But I know this is a player that he likes. You know, Vucic is a match winner. He's good in the ball. You know, I think he's liking them too. Mikhailichenko. You know, he's kind of got a laboured style about him, Darryl. But when he's on the ball, he can take men on. He can create things. But first and foremost, he can get goals.
I know, of course, you know Vucic from your old Newcastle days as well. I think everyone was a bit surprised to hear Mike Ashley Newcastle might receive £500,000 if Rangers get promoted, because he's the only one of the loanees that's really made any impact. But do you like what you've seen from him?
Yeah, definitely. But I've played with Harris myself, and I've seen it myself firsthand what he can do. And I knew when Rangers got him that I know he could do well for the club, and I said that many times in the start when they signed. And I think he's proven that. He's been great for the club, and he's got that attitude as a young boy. He wants to get better, he wants to learn, and he had that in Newcastle, and he's shown he's having that here as well.
It's interesting that he's in for David Templeton today. Templeton played last time out. Okay, if Rangers are to keep on building their momentum, they need to do something they've not done yet this season, and that is beat Hearts. In 2 previous meetings, the Jambos have won both times.
So Rangers against Hearts to kick off the championship season. And Danny Wilson stealing in. He's done it against his own club. Nicky Law with the equaliser. Just what Rangers needed. The Hearts forward immediately. Osmanson! Half of Midlothian and Rangers on a collision course. So red cards. It's come to Hearts. Jason Hall for Hearts. Penalty kick to Hearts. And here it is. Jamie Walker. And it is a scene of pure maroon at Tynecastle.
And we have continued to shuffle our pack. As you can see, Hearts never really looked back from winning at Ibrox the very first game of the season. And it's interesting, the players that have made an impact again this year, so many of them that of course you helped bring through, including, you look at the wide positions, and Walker, Nicholson occupying those roles today.
Yeah, they're very fortunate in that department, Hearts. Nicholson, I think, is a terrific young player. And you know, like what we touched on earlier on, when you're winning games and you're confident, these boys, they then come into their own. You know, they go and they're not frightened to beat people, they're not frightened to shoot for distance. I think you've seen that throughout the course of the season. Jamie Walker, Billy King, fantastic young players, and great for Scottish football as well. You know, we've got a couple like Kilmarnock, Chris Johnson, who's very, very similar. And the more players that we can get like this, the more people will come and watch.
Well, I think it's the fact that they're fearless. You know, and Robbie Nielsen's given them a structure where they can go and express themselves, Darryl. You know, they can take men on, they can make things happen. You know, I think people always talk about match winners and people who can make a difference and affect the opposition. These 3 players can all affect the opposition. And I'm sure today, with Nicholson in the team and with Jamie Walker in the team, they'll try and get them on the ball as much as they possibly can. And particularly in big games. You know, we've seen Jamie Walker scoring in the derby, Michael, and we've seen Sam Nicholson scoring in the derby as well. You know, it's terrific.
These guys are, as Gary said, really talented players, but you know, Craigs has made a good point there as well, that you've got to give them a structure. And you see here Nicholson floating in off the wing. You've got to give guys a structure to play within, but then in that final third, the freedom to go and express yourself. And some of the goals we're seeing here that these guys are scoring just proves what top players they are. And I'll be very interested to see them, you know, stepping up to playing in the Premiership next season against, you know, what is without a doubt a bit more tougher opposition. But I'm fully confident that these boys will more than handle that.
And you can see why, of course, Hearts are champions. 20 different Hearts players have scored this season. 5 Hearts players have scored more than the Rangers top scorer. It's not just about the attack though, Michael. You really like what you've seen from the defence as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously the attack's the thing that people talk about a lot of, but you see a lot of clips here where defensively everybody wanting to make sure they don't concede. They've only conceded 18 goals in the league. A lot of these last ditch, great save from Neil Alexander as well, but Eckersley throwing his body on the line. but there's that structure in place at the back to make sure that they get the platform to go and express themselves in the final third. Because if you don't get, clean sheets and concede few goals, you're always going to be fighting an uphill battle.
And Danny Wilson has been right at the very centre of it. OK, it's a very, very big day at Ibrox today, and one of the greatest players here is being fondly remembered. Sandy Jardine sadly lost his battle with cancer last year. A new sculpture of him has taken its place above the marble staircase inside the main entrance here, in recognition of the amazing impact he made at Rangers. One of the greatest ever to play for the club. He'll be in the thoughts of both teams today, having also been a fan favourite at Hearts. We're with Rangers today, and we'll be back with them on Thursday as well as they travel to Palmerston, Queen of the South, Thursday 7:30 p.m. on BT Sport 1. Last time they were there, Ali McCoist's resignation, and they lost, of course. Ibrox this Easter Sunday is a big game in Scotland as Rangers take on already crowned champions Hearts. Jambos fans arriving for a bit of a party. Why not? It's a celebration just about every week right now. Kick-off is 12:15. Let's get the thoughts of both managers ahead of the game. Robbie Neilson and Stuart McCall have been speaking to Mark Guidi.
Stuart, two changes today, Mosney and Templeton out, Zaliukas and Vukic. And what's your thinking behind that?
Yeah, I thought that Hearts might just go one up, and I didn't think we needed three centre-backs. They might still play two up right enough, but I just felt Harris, obviously coming on last week and getting his 2 goals, deserves to be in the side. And we've tried to pack it with good footballers, Shields, Law, Vukic, Wee Murdoch in middle of the park, and then take the game to them. We're so... we know what Hearts have done. In 26 games out of 30, scored lots of goals. But I think we've got to think about us today. We're in a different place when we were a few weeks ago. A little bit of confidence, a little bit of belief. And it's down to us at home to try and go and win the game, and that's what we're aiming to do.
And in terms of the race for second spot, very much in your own hands, particularly again with Hibs losing yesterday.
Well, yeah, football can change so quickly. I was at the Hibs game yesterday, and fair play to Queen of the South, defended really well, and got a 1-0 win. But I've been in the game long enough, as I say, football can change so quick. So we're at the here and now. We've got a little bit of belief in among us. But today's game, and then we go down to Queen of the South on Thursday as well, which will be a really tough game. So taking nothing for granted, but as long as we keep improving, that's the main thing.
Robbie, 2 changes today. Nicholson and McHattie in for King and Eckersley. What's your thinking behind the changes?
Yeah, just we've changed our shape a little bit, and doing things slightly differently. So I wanted to bring Kevin in for Adam. It gives a bit more height in that department. So yeah, it's something we decided to do.
What's Adam's situation exactly now with the club?
Yeah, well, I had a meeting with Adam on Thursday. We decided that we're not going to offer him a contract. As everyone kind of knows, and we have to evolve as a club. We're moving up a level. He's done absolutely fantastic for us, and he's disappointed. But I have to look to the future now.
I suppose you're going to have a lot of tough decisions in the weeks and months ahead.
Yeah, I have. I've got quite a few to make. But when you move up a league, you have to do that. It's important that we evolve as a team and as a club. And we've got a direction I want to take, and that's what I'm going to do.
Thanks, Robbie.
Thank you.
Hearts have made a couple of changes, and it is interesting to see that Adam Eckersley isn't involved at all, and word is he's not going to be given a contract. Are you surprised by that?
Well, yes and no. I think that it's a big call from Robbie Neilson, but it's a clear intent of where he wants to take the club. He did it last summer when he never kept on guys like Ryan Stevenson as well, but you can't say that what he's done hasn't been the right decision.
Rangers left back position in focus as well, because Lee Wallace was excellent at Easter Road a few weeks ago in the back 5. Slightly different role in the back 4 for him as well, Stephen.
Well, I think Lee is probably one of the players, Dal, whose career has probably been affected by Rangers going down the leagues. I think he's lost a little bit of intensity to his play. He hasn't been affecting games going forward as much as he used to do. But that weekend against Hibs 2 weeks ago, I seen Lee Wallace back to his best. He was running at people, he was going forward, he was putting crosses in the box, he even scored. So he has to replicate that, not just today, but also moving forward.
Peter, do you think Lee Wallace is getting back to his best?
Yeah, I can only agree with what Stephen says. It's fantastic. He's back to the way he wanted to play, going forward and creating stuff going forward as well. Not only the defensive stuff, but going forward as well. And I think he's doing well with it.
And on a side note, Chris Boyd is back on the bench for Rangers today. As you probably know, he's been linked with Kilmarnock a bit, maybe a coaching role capacity. You're not going to tell me anything about it, are you? Is it an option?
No, I just wish that I could get money for every time I was asked that, and then I'd be able to afford them.
Yes, OK. It is a very big game at Ibrox today. Rangers trying to do something they've not done all season yet, and that is defeat Hearts and keep the momentum going. And all the action is live next on BT Sport. Welcome back to Ibrox. The champions are in town looking for a third straight win over Rangers. Hearts have been unstoppable in the championship.
Away up in Gorgie at Tynecastle Park, there's a wee Fitba team that will aye make its mark. They've won all the honours in footballing arts, and there's no other team to compare with the Hearts. We've won the league flag and we've won the league cup. Though we sometimes go down, we can aye go back up. Our forwards can score, and it's no idle talk. Our defence is as strong as the old castle rock.
They've had some great moments this season. Gary, it's going to be interesting to see what the mentality is here today.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think the Rangers obviously need to win the game a lot more than Hearts do, but the pressure's off Hearts, so I think it'll be a tight game, really tight game. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a draw, to be honest with you.
No doubt they're here for a party.